Well, he's still got a long way to go, but I knew from Australia, from back in Muskoka, that he was very talented there. They were giving him big raps then. And then, of course, when he arrives in Hong Kong and, we started to get to the bottom of his, the 2-year-old ability, I got very excited. And, his trials were a little lackluster in the sense that he didn't jump away so well that day. But what a lot of people didn't realise, that I'd taken him back to the gate with Romain, and I gave him a good smack, to make sure he did jump, and he did over there at the 1800, which wasn't mentioned on the racing program. So he was sharpened up, and on the day he did jump, and he did what he had to do, and he won in very facile fashion. But the family, Pinocchio's family, we know about classic legend going to the Everest, half brother. She can produce him, that mare, and I got lucky. And everybody knows the story. When at the English sale, when I saw him, he just reminded me of Abel Friend. So leading up into this, till Sunday's 1200, I don't think it's going to be a problem. He's still got a little ways to go with respect to gate manners. He tends to get a bit fidgety in there, but I think we'll iron that out in time. Very sound, never gone shin sore. Bottom line, what you asked me is that I think I've got a star on my hands, and I hope tomorrow everything goes well. At the 1200, I do expect him to win. Again, track conditions may have some
an impact on the race.
Impact on the race, yeah, because the likelihood of a soft track is possible, looking at the weather report. But no, hopefully I've got another able friend, another able one. They all came from the yearling ranks.
Paul, Chicken Dance, nice run from him on Derby Day. Has he had a couple of issues since then, though?
Yeah, he got a high temperature. He was ready to run about 3 weeks later and had a high temperature, so we gave him a decent break, and he's back and going now.
How is he?
Yeah, pretty good. He's a nice, big, imposing type of horse, and his first run was quite eye-catching. His trial since has been sound, so a bit of an awkward gait, but I'm sure he'll race well.
From there, we saw on Derby Day he went back. Would it be the plan to ride him cold and let him finish off again?
Yeah, I think so. He probably hasn't got the speed to cross him. He'd probably go fast enough to get in trouble. That's about all. So hopefully there'll be a bit of speed on, and I'm sure he'll be steaming home.
Just the way that he ran first up, is he going to be a 1400 to mile type of horse in time?
Yeah, for sure. I thought on his pedigree should really be a miler, and maybe a bit further. Who knows?
How wound up is he for this run?
I think he's forward enough, to be very competitive. He's a great big strapping type of horse, and will only get better as time goes on. But at this stage, I think he's pretty ready.
Well, everything was, I put him away after that. He had some, soundness issues with respect to, being a baby, shin soreness and all that. So we put him away, brought him back, and Dougie was on him, as you know, and he trialled, and he came back and he bled, which caught me totally off guard. There was no sign of it whatsoever, previous. So I had to give him time. And a horse that bled as serious as he bled, I gave him a lot of time. So I took, ages to sort of get him where he is. He's had 2 trials. We know he's very talented. Douglas always gave him a big rap, said he looks like he'll get into group company eventually. But coming in against another superstar on the rise in Voyage Warrior, the Declaration War, his work's going to be cut out, but I'd like to think that if he could run in the first 3, that we're right on target for another 2 runs this season. Whether he goes 1,000 in the future or 1,200 is still to be seen, but he's talented too, and he might be stretching Voyage Warrior a little bit in the finish.
First up, after such a long break, where have you got him fitness-wise, John?
In Hong Kong, they work on percentages, so you'd probably say about 90%. It's as fit as I can get him for the first up campaign, this campaign. But it would be nice if he could be running second or third, and 100 out or 150 out. He challenges Voyage Warrior. He's there when the whips are cracking, sort of thing. But I think his condition just might not last.
Well, I think his form's been very good. He's improved every time he's gone to the races, and made fairly quick progress up to up to over the hundreds. But I think he's handling it quite well. He didn't start racing until he was 4, but he seems to be tough enough to go through this campaign and keep racing. So I'm sure he'll run well.
When you look at what he's done this preparation as well too, he's at a trial since that last run. Are you happy with his condition heading into Sunday?
Yeah, he's quite a gross doing horse. His condition's always pretty good. He carries a bit of weight. You never see his ribs or anything, so he's got a good constitution. I think that he'll back up okay, and I think with a lighter weight he'd probably be competitive again.
Sort of race too, there's no Mr. Stunning, there's no Beat the Clock, there's not one of the Group 1 sprinters here in Hong Kong in a race like it. Is this a good opportunity for him to win a group level before the season's over?
Normally they got some advantage, the horses at the bottom of the scale, but the top weights, they're good horses, and it's hard to imagine that they come back in class and win, but sometimes they can do that just on their quality. They've proven their class, they've proven their quality, and sometimes the weight just doesn't stop them.
What about Gunnison? How's he going into Sunday, John?
He's been okay. There's a little bit of rain around, so if that continues to come here, that'll be his chance of winning the race if you get plenty of rain and you've got a deteriorating track.
Would the rain, which we're getting at the moment, be an issue for Full of Beauty?
Well, I think he's probably better on a fast track, but it's hard to sort of quantify our track conditions if it doesn't get that wet that it affects a lot of horses, but it probably help the ones that are looking for it.
Pakistan star Paul loomed up like he was going to win in the QE2 Cup. What did you make of his performance that day?
Yeah, I think he just summed it up. He got the split at the top of the straight, and it was a very good ride from Matthew. We had planned on sitting for a lot longer than we did, but when the gap opened up, he was committed to take it. And at the 300, he looked damn near the winner, and just sort of run out of puff. They did run an exceptionally fast time in a very strong field, and maybe he's just, as he's got older, he doesn't want to go as far as what he did when he was younger.
So does that concern you, stepping up to 2,400 metres?
Well, he won the race last year, so really, you can't sort of use that as an excuse. But with the two brothers in there, there's usually a fair bit of speed on. The most important thing for him is that he switches off, and we took the blinkers off him in a trial last week, and it didn't seem to affect his performance. So if he switches off and he can get held up, well, he's in there with the shout.
Taking all the gear off, is that something that you've had at the back of your mind for a while with him?
Well, we thought we'd reduce it a little bit from the start, but then after he was still a little bit keen the other day with blinkers on. It was one of those nothing to lose type situations. So we tried him without it, and I thought he trialled very, very well. So we'll run with that.
He did trial very well. I think that was the general consensus with everybody. Is that a positive heading into Sunday? Because we have seen him trial well and then not necessarily bring that to race day.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of his trials, and it's a shame they don't run Group 1 1200-metre races on the dirt. But it was just an exercise for him, with the time between runs, and it's one that he did very well.